Oh boy, everybody. We got a quite a downer of an industry insight to talk about today. And we're going to be discussing the Twitter storm that happened with Arena.net over last night. And if you've somehow missed this news, then I apologize for ruining your happy day with it. But here's what happened in a nutshell. One of the story directors or story writers at Arena.net did an AMA about the process and designing the various stories and basically her job. And everything was fine. After the AMA was over, she went on Twitter to discuss, or she posted on her public or her non Arena.net Twitter account about some of the problems she faced with creating personalized stories for characters in an MMO. And this was all great and happy. And a popular streamer and fan of Guild Wars posted on her tweet about that, and he disagreed with her slightly, and he offered a conversation about creating personalized stories for quests and stuff like that. And then she responded basically saying, thanks for telling me this, my man. Like, she was talking down to him by the fact that he was a man talking to her. And then things snowballed very quickly. You had people immediately coming in to defend the guy, saying, I can't repeat the words mentioned here. You're being, you're talking down to him. You're being rude and stuff like that. You have her defenders coming in saying, "Oh, this guy's being misogynist. He's mansplaining to her. All these misogynists are coming out in droves to attack this poor woman," and things just escalated from there. She called everyone who was agreeing with him a rando asshat, and his fans started calling her even worse names. It got to the point where one of her colleagues came in to defend her, and things just kept escalating and escalating. It got to the point that Arena.net basically came in and fired them both. And that has sent out some massive shockwaves. You have the Gamergate MRA crowd saying it's great, we got this so and so fired, no, another woman out, stuff like that. You have her defenders saying this is just a case of another company, putting down women. It's going to hurt everybody in the industry. The jobs aren't, the companies basically treating their employees like trash, and so on and so forth. And probably the story is still going on by the time you're watching this right now. And this makes this kind of conversation very hard to have. So, before we get into the long part of this, here's what I think in a nutshell. She was wrong with her initial tweet 100%. Unless someone can show me proof of the guy on Reddit saying bad or nasty things to her, she responded in the original situation wrong. The defenders on both sides who escalated this matter were wrong as well. Whether you believed in her or believed in him, escalating that situation did not help anybody. And there's several big problems and several big discussions that come from this. So the first point that I want to talk about is why she's wrong. Because even though she posted on her personal Twitter, having someone come in and offer a conversation, especially one that seemed design oriented, and trying to basically say, you're talking down because I'm a woman, that's not how you start a conversation in any industry, in any profession. And it goes back to an adage that my mother has inscribed in me for all these years. And that is, don't holler until you're hurt. Someone can be the most awful, misogynistic, racist, Nazi, homophobe, you can throw any more adjectives you can think of in. But you have to wait for them to fire the first shot. Because if you don't, then you're viewed as the person who's punching down. And that's what happened here, very easy to see by looking at that Twitter exchange. And I know people are going to come in and try and point to other things she said. There's a very popular tweet of her saying that she was glad Total Biscuit died, something about the First Amendment going around. That's not important to this conversation. Sticking with the basic thing or that basic interaction, she was in the wrong 100%. She should not have been fired, though. Definitely not for this. what you do on Twitter, on social media, should not be representative of your job, especially for something like this. If she would have said, crazy, terroristic stuff, that's a different story. But to have an argument online should not be impacting what you do on your daily life. And again, going back to the point I just said, if he would have said something misogynistic, he would have been dismissive, but if there's any proof of him talking to her as an irate customer, she would have been justified there, and she would probably be considered a hero for this. But from that initial exchange, I have to say that I side with the guy on that one, because there was nothing in that conversation that should have provoked any kind of hostility, passive-aggressive tones, anything like that. And she could have handled it better. She could have said anything like, I'm not interested in talking about this right now. This is kind of like this is my off work time. She could have even put in her own argument about it. Because that's the kind of stuff I want to see, is having those design discussions on Twitter and all over the place. I mean, that's what I do around here, except without crazy random cursing as well. And like I said, the people who escalated things were in the wrong as well. This should have just kept between her and the fan. Now, the other point that I want to mention, again, about being civil on social media, and that is that you cannot say the excuse that I'm just talking privately on Twitter, or I'm just talking privately on my own public account. It doesn't work like that. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what your profession, your gender, your nationality, anything like that is. Social media is not private time. It is not your mother, father, sister, brother, your confessional, your bar, a quiet cliff edge at a beach where you can scream off into the distance. It is a public place, and anything you write on social media, it's always going to be magnified by a loudspeaker. And if you want to have those conversations, you got to have them privately. And again, her posting a design-related question or a design discussion, that was right open to have a discussion about storytelling and design. And that's what, at least from the records show, the streamer and fan wanted to have. And having her dismiss him like that is not how you conduct yourself. Again, going back to the holler till you're hurt, or don't holler until you're hurt adage. And you want to know how I know this? Because I worked at Comcast for 2 years doing customer service, and it was a hell job. I lost count of the number of people who called in yelling, screaming, and cursing at me, and I couldn't raise my voice at them, nor did I want to, because they weren't yelling at me. They were yelling at the company. And there was only one time that I lost control, and that was when the person actually attacked me directly on the phone. And for those of you who watch me, know I can be a nice guy, but I can get very mean when I get pushed like that. And for the other situations, I always diffuse them the best I can. Most of the time, the people who called, who were yelling and angry, they were thanking me in terms of how well I handled that situation, and there should be more people like you. Because I knew they were angry. They were angry at the company. It wasn't my job. It wasn't in my place to be dismissive to them. That wasn't what I was hired for. Nor was it my place to talk down to them. And by keeping that situation in check, I kept a lot of things from getting crazy. Even when people were completely out of control, except for that one situation, I never escalated to that point as well. And that's kind of the big issue with Twitter and social media these days. These issues snowball so fast that it becomes impossible to cut any individual segment out. With this whole issue right now, if I say I support her, then you have people saying, oh, you support someone who liked Total Biscuit dying, and saying so-and-so. If I agree with the guy, then you have people saying, oh, so you're a misogynistic Gamergator, and you hate women, and all that. And it's just a lose-lose situation all around. But this is definitely a great example of, one, how to not behave on Twitter for everyone involved, and two, how these things can escalate into very horrible situations. Like I said, I think she should have been reprimanded for escalating things like that, but she should not have been fired, and neither should her colleague. And I think those repercussions are going to be felt by Arenanet for the foreseeable future. No matter how much people on Reddit and the Gamergate crowd are very excited about this news. But let me know what you think, and let's try to keep at least things civil here down below. And thank you for watching today's Industry Insight. Check back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where he's in the art and science of games. And hopefully next time things will be a lot happier in terms of our conversations. Before we get to the credits, just a quick shout out to the supporters over on patreon.com/gwbicer. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check back around 10 Eastern for regular streaming. If you'd like to suggest games for me to cover or topics to talk about, let me know in the comments below. For a collection of my writings as well as weekly podcasts on design, check out game-wisdom.com. To support the Game Wisdom Patreon, you can find us on there on patreon.com/gwbicer. $1 will get you into our private Discord channel where we talk game topics and more. $5 will get you voting privileges for any major event, including the Saturday Night Grab Bag, Patreon-funded goals, and more. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy more videos here on the Game Wisdom YouTube channel.